Hi everyone, the Mature Simmer here. So welcome to what I'm calling Happy Harvest Farm, the name of the Let's Play that I'm just going through as I try to learn the game and try to learn the way it functions. So I'm going to go ahead and get the speed up here till the normal 5 times speed. Just adjusted some settings to make it really easy since we want to progress at this point. I'll definitely probably be doing another series later with some other settings. So let's take a look here at the map. So I'm on Elmcreek. Since I'm US myself, I just thought I'd start the US map. I'll be doing another series that I'm hoping people will find interesting, that I'll use the French map, the Oberon map on, and you should be seeing something on that as well. But right now we can see we own 44, 45, and 46. 2 of them have wheat, 1 of them have nothing. Growth stages, looks like 45 is ready to harvest, 44 has been harvested, 46 is cultivated. It's interesting that the growing stages look like it has 7 to 8 stages. I'll be curious as we watch things grow if we're going to see a change that often. I've got weeding and lime and so forth turned off at this point. I do like the fact that you can actually see the shapes of your vehicles, so it makes it a little bit easier on the map to find what you're looking for. At this point, let me go ahead and go into our garage. So this icon here shows what we own. So we've got 3 medium tractors, a John Deere 190 horsepower, another John Deere 7810 at 175, and then a Massey Ferguson MF 3670 at 170 horsepower. So in essence, very similar. Harvester, we have one, a Deutz-Fahr with 8,500 capacity. We've got a pickup, trailer. Oh, it's interesting. It doesn't show liters, it shows cubed meters. 6-meter header. 2.5 meter cultivator, a 3 meter seeder, header trailer, and then a couple 750 kilogram weights. So that is the extent of what you're given in new farmer mode. It's August. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a couple quick jobs here in the first episode. Definitely different sounds for attachments and so forth. Hide the menu so we can see a little bit more. Unfold the harvester. Turn things on. And then I'm going to disable the straw swath as I don't have anything to pick up bales with. And we'll get moving. So the little bit of testing I did do, there is some force feedback available, but I have found that it's actually really distracting and not something I'd like to use, and I've also been struggling to get the force feedback from my Logitech wheel just to override it as well. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to work long term, but right now I just wanted to get some video out to everybody. So I'm dealing with it as I go, but I'll say right now it's not pleasant because it almost wants to jerk the wheel out of your hands in some cases. So it's definitely something I'll probably be playing with over the next week to try to make some changes to, but I'm not sure that I'm going to find anything because everything that I would logically try, I've already tried and it hasn't disabled it, including turning off force feedback within FS22. It seems to either ignore that or then just cause the force feedback I'm getting to still be running the same way it was the other way. So it's not a great situation, but other than that, that's what I've noticed so far. Definitely the textures on the exhaust from the harvester look different. Even the textures on the field a lot more defined, where normally with wheat here you just have stubble. Definitely a little bit more challenging as far as turning radius. So I'm going to just keep running up the field a bit. Not quite able to get the full amount here. Well, I definitely miss the driving aids already with GPS and and things, because clearly I can't drive a straight line myself in the field. I've switched from one side to the other and what's available. Oh goodness, picked up my header too early, I think, which is why I left that little bit there. So I've just created a bigger problem where we're going to have to waste more time fixing it, but looks like these fields are small enough. We'll see if we can determine how big they are once I'm done. I'm not going to get out in the middle here. But I'm guessing from what I'm visually seeing, I should be able to harvest this whole field without the combine getting full. Alright, let's try to get this edge done. Oh, whoops. Oh, and then I'm trying to drive it like I have EV, and that's not going to work because that's not available. So I was hitting the space bar to reverse, and suddenly I'm driving into the field. So but once again, because I've made it super simple, I have crop destruction turned off right now, so it wouldn't have damaged anything, but still nice to make sure I don't form bad habits by making myself drive poorly because I'm just being careless. So I do like how things look so far, certainly. I gotta remember, hit the brake to back up. The other thing I will not be trying, I don't have a gear shifter, nor am I looking to get one. So I won't be attempting manual gear shift. I think there is a way to do it on the keyboard. If I eventually do try it, it'll be a while, I'm sure. Certainly won't be likely in this series, but we'll go from there. But at this point, yeah, my focus just today will be to get something done in each of these 3 fields. They are in various states. So again, with one being cultivated, one having been harvested, it needs to be cultivated, so we'll do that next. That looks like the field up over to the left. The other thing I did notice is there's this round mini-map that is available to us now, which when I go get that little sheaf of wheat that's hanging out that I missed, you'll see what the difference is with that of what we've had in FS19. It rotates so that it keeps us facing forward or north in the image, or up in the image, I guess, because obviously north is still north. But that is an interesting perspective if you'd like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just empty this into the silo. There's not really a point in getting the trailer out and doing that. But yeah, we were able clearly to go ahead and finish harvesting that field. And then I will go ahead and put the harvester as much as I can into the barn, so we'll clean up as we go along. I do like how the RPMs actually change on the engine too, based on if the equipment is actually doing any work, so that's different from what I recall from FS19 as well. That definitely adds more realism as we were pumping things out of the pipe. Obviously that would likely put some load on the engine, and we saw that. Alright, we won't be able to fit in here with the header, but we can get back there pretty far. Turn ourselves off. Alright. So we've got the barn here, we've got the silo, we've got another barn there. I think we're going to have to store some equipment in there. There's some building over there. As we work this field, maybe we'll take a look, or it'll become more obvious what that is. So yeah, I've kind of somewhat just picked a, I don't know that I would say it's a random pattern, but as far as clothing, but I've got the case outfit. That's a case branded outfit, so when you select things you're able to just take general ones or branded. Let's see how cultivating works. Oh wow. Yeah, I like how the dirt gets tossed up. That's a lot more graphic and to me adds a sense of realism as well. Alright. The building, it's got a regular door. It's clearly not for storing equipment. Has no icons next to it, so I'm not sure if it is part of productions, or we'll find out if maybe it's just a placeable. Again, we're having to kind of skip some rows to not have to be doing a lot of 3-point turns right now, but we'll do that so we can get through this and not make this an extremely long episode, because clearly we're not going to be doing much today given how small our fields are. I have to back up anyway. Yeah, definitely learning to drive manually, learning to work with small implements again, because I haven't done that in a while. Especially not without GPS or something that allows me to keep my lines a bit better and move quicker. Perfect example. I have to come back and clean that up later. Goodness. Alright, well, we'll do what we can. I guess everyone can laugh at me as we go along, but so far, nothing incredibly different from FS19 other than the graphics, obviously, but granted, we haven't tried to do a whole lot. So, I think I understand how seasons works, where you're able to set it from 1 day to 28, and I'm thinking what that means is it starts you out in August, as you can see, and I think what that means is if I set it to 28 days, that it would take me 28 in-game days to get through August, so it would almost literally be a full calendar. My goodness, this is just, I thought I could turn it back, and I kind of overdid it. So, compared to what we're doing in FSN, for example, where we have 3-day seasons in the Seasons mod, I think what that would mean is if we're right now, it's 3 days in autumn and 3 days in summer, for example. So in 12 game days, I'm through a year. But I think if I set this version of Seasons to 3 days, I think the year would be 36 in-game days. so that in fact there's no way to get to the point where you have 12 in-game days, because it's, well, I can take that back. You'll have 12 in-game days the way we're set now, with 1-day seasons, but then you'd immediately go to 24 days, but the difference is I think you could go to a maximum of 8 or 9 days in Realismus's mod of seasons for FS19, which would mean a full, you'd have 24 days, I think, per season at 8 days. Because you still have an early, mid, and late... Oh, there was a deer running through the trees there. I knew there was wildlife, but I think he's still over there eating at the edge. I don't know, we'll see. We'll look over our... Yep, look at that. Wow. Well, that adds some feeling of a live environment. I mean, obviously before we just had... you know, cars and people walking around. Those are still present, but that's kind of nice. Let's see what else we see. Kind of gives a different living aspect to the environment, having animals just randomly running around and showing up on your farm, which obviously would be happening in a real farm. So that's nice. I am challenged, that is for certain. So I'm trying to remember, I was talking about seasons and the number of days. Oh yes, so I think the maximum you can do in Realismus's mod at 8 days would mean 24 days per cycle, which means over early, mid, and late spring, for example, it would take me 24 in-game days to get through spring. Multiply that by 4, I get to 96 in-game days to get through... Oh, thank goodness, I thought I was going to miss that piece too. This is just really, really ugly. Now you guys see why I like my GPS, because I can't drive. But if I'm understanding how this seasons works, if I set it to 28 days, that will be 28 days per month on the seasons chart. So we'll take a look at that when we are done here. And that would be, what, 348 days if my math serves me correctly. So it would be, if we had 20, it would be 300 and, oh no, so it's more than, no, if we had 20 days, it would be 240. But no, what I was saying is if we were able to do 30 days over 12 months, we'd have 360. So if I take 2 days away, no, I'm actually then taking away 24 days. So it would be 336, I think, is the right math. So that'd be a lot of in-game days, but if you're looking for a different way to play the game than we've had available to us, Giants certainly has given us to that in that case, because I could just imagine people who were doing real-time. Again, I don't see FSN doing that because I'm not sure that people would be engaged that long, but perhaps there will be maybe a server or two that would allow people to basically, in real life, play one game year in essence in almost one full year. Ooh. Not sure if it really started running because it heard me, but that was kind of interesting. It was walking, and then when it saw me circle toward it, it took off like a real deer would. So if it has that capability, that's just kind of neat. Looks like we have pits underneath in our barn here where we can work under the equipment. That's nice. A lot of stuff around. I do have the interactive zones on, so I'm assuming this isn't a working workshop. Oh wait, I can pick things up? Oh wow. Oh wow, I can pick everything up almost. I can't pick that up. But yeah, I can move the nail bins around, the wrench. That's actually really nice, because then I can kind of reposition stuff in my workshop and clean it up if I want. And does that work? It does. Wow. So it works everywhere. That is pretty neat. That is something different from FS19. Okay, there's our pickup truck. So we've basically filled this barn. At this point, we've got that field ready for planting, which we'll do tomorrow. Or next in-game day. It may be something I play today, but we've got this field harvested. And we'll go ahead and walk down to the other tractor just to give ourselves a little tour of the tiny farm we've got. So I think the only thing we really haven't looked at here is the barn. So it looks like a barn, but what I was getting at, I don't know that I can use it for vehicle storage in any substantive way. I'm trying to figure out this silo here. So it's attached to this. Can I get in here? No. If I go up there, no, that just gives me a way to get up here. Oh, I can't open that door. That's nice. Let's not fall out. Can I move this stuff? No, these are placeables that aren't movable. Oh, wow. Wonder, can I climb that ladder? That'd be a lot. That just looks like an accident waiting to happen on so many levels. Oh, look at that. I can. Wow. Huh. So that's nice. They definitely gave you all the abilities there to do what you'd like to do. I'll be good and I'll use the stairs rather than just... Look at that. There's a cellar too. Wow. Oh, there's a room down here. Is this the man cave for the farmer? I can play with my model on Elmcreek's map and move my little... Can I move my little silos around? I can't. It won't let me pick those up, but it lets me pick up the sticks. I see. So we're actually like supposed to be gluing this together, so it lets us move this around. Let's see. It's probably way more time than you'd want me spending on the farm puzzle in my man cave here, but let's see. I can't get any closer, so it doesn't seem... Anyway, I'm not going to waste any more time on that. Sorry. Is this open somewhere? Oh, look at that. I didn't even realize there was a below grade. So we can actually, I guess, store things in there. Like if we had pallets and things. So yeah, I'm starting to get some ideas for if I end up doing a roleplay series or something. If we get enough mods, could even do it on Elmcreek maybe. Whoops, I went the wrong way. Oh, we didn't close the door up top. I thought I did. Oh, that's alright. Let some fresh air into the barn. Oh, what do we got here? I don't know what we've got here. And turning on the help screen doesn't help me any, because it's not giving me anything else. So I'm guessing that's It's clearly a tank of some sort, but I don't know what it's at. Oh, you know what? That might be a water point. We might be collecting water from the creek here. So if and when we get to the point we need some water, we can try that out. Oh, speaking of, we were going to look at the size of fields. Oh, field info doesn't give us that, but I do think that was an add-on in 19. But if we go to the map... Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Yeah, when you used to do buy and sell, it would give you not only the balance you have in the value, but it would give you the size. Even here, it doesn't give us the size. Wonder if that was intentional or an oversight. Because if they do it this way, it makes it harder to use like any kind of work time calculator like I've used in FSN. So let's see. We'll pick up the cedar and the weight. Alright, well we have 600 seeds. Let's look at our seasons. I'm hitting the button as I normally would to go into seasons when it's an add-on, which is why it gave me that error. Oh wow. Very small planting and harvesting windows. It almost requires that to not really get bogged down, that we stay in one-day seasons. Because otherwise, you know, if you made this like a 28-day season, unless you own the whole map, you're not really going to be busy enough to harvest. I mean, I suppose you could do contracts constantly, but that wouldn't make for a very exciting Let's Play to watch, I don't think, as far as progression. I guess that maybe at some point in the future. So yeah, grass and oilseed obviously have large windows. So does the poplar. You can grow grapes and olives here in the Midwest. Maybe we'll try that at some point just to do the different crop types that we haven't had. But anyway, so we can harvest. So the only thing we can plant today, other than these, which I don't want to do, is canola. So no, what I was saying is, yeah, they have changed the seasons menu, it looks like, to have the months. And obviously we did have 12 divisions in the seasons mod, where we had early, late, or early, mid, and late for every season. So we still had 12 buckets, but they went ahead and instead of having to pretend that they were months, they've gone ahead and just said they are months because you have 12 of them. Alright, we'll lower this, turn it on. Oh, I have to unfold it first. And we'll turn it on. So I'm not hitting the gas yet, and look at the RPMs. So it definitely affects gives you the more visual example of how the tractor has load under it through the PTO driving the implement. So that's pretty nice. It'll give a bit more clarity to when I'm maxing something out on horsepower as far as what the implement requires, and then I can only move at 2 miles an hour. It'll make more sense then, because I'll see that my PTO is taking, you know, whatever it is, 19,000 RPMs. Again, trying to do my EV driving. That's not going to work. Now I'm fighting my wheel. So we'll go ahead and get this field planted. And I will call that the first episode, however long that is. It might not be that long, but that may be a good thing. Just kind of give a taste of FS22 in the first day. took off and ran into the fence because once again I'm playing as if I have EV and I can just hit the spacebar in reverse. Wonder how long that will be going on in my head. Probably forever, because I still am playing FSN on 19 for now, since that's where my farm is, and we're not going to be moving for many months, so I'll be using those capabilities there. So I wonder how confused I'm going to become playing on an FS19 server with all kinds of mods and capabilities that I don't have access to, especially if I do something still in single player at one point, because I'll probably continue at least the roleplay series at Hebdoff. So, yeah. So I guess you guys can let me know in the comments if it all gets annoying, my inability to keep things straight, and I might have to make a choice. But again, kind of going back to differences, certainly the textures on the field here, I think it looks a little more natural how the planted rows are laying out. It looks like real dirt, more so than it did in FS19. They did a good job in 19, but they've clearly taken things a step up here. I'm being careful on this end to lift up my seeder so that I don't inadvertently seed that field, although it might not let me since it's not cultivated, but still. No chances, given how much wasted time I've been putting in already, not driving appropriately, so let's not try to be too efficient without GPS, and then I leave a tiny bit in between, so trying to be careful there. But not a lot of traffic on the main road, or, well, the road. I don't know how main it is. It looks relatively wide. Almost, I would say it's a 4-lane road, but not sure if it is. This is really stupid of me without GPS, because normally I'd know I was lined up because I would have locked in my track and I'd be good, but yeah, maybe it's a 2-lane road with a middle turn lane or something, but it's definitely wider than a basic 2-lane road. So we definitely have a small little farm here in Elmcreek to start. So I did look at the other modes as I was just kind of playing around for 10-15 minutes before I got on to start moving forward with this. And so obviously the easy mode, the new farmer mode that we have, you know, same as before, you get equipment and 100,000. The middle one, which is farm manager, I think all the names on the modes have stayed the same. Again, another example of me forgetting that I don't have EV as I head toward the fence. But the farm manager mode here in Elmcreek gives you 1.5 million to start with. That seems like it's a little bit more than what we got in FS19 in farm manager mode, but I may just be wrong. I don't know. I'm sure someone will give me a comment down below. And then in Start from Scratch, which would be the hardest mode, you get 500,000 but still have no equipment and no land. So obviously you're starting with $1 million less than Farm Manager, but the same result, no equipment and no land. So it'll be more challenging, and then of course if you don't play with the economy settings, you also have the difference of normal economy to hard economy. So, you know, it almost makes you feel like, although I'm little tongue-in-cheek joking, but that you could almost start a survival series immediately here in Farming Simulator 22, because we don't have any mods, so we can't get any great equipment too easily. You certainly can't do anything with adjusting the game artificially, because none of those mods are available. And we got a little bit left that we couldn't get, so we will have to do one more pass here. And I think we have some up above. But, yeah, I mean, just while you won't be able to see things, if you did something like start from scratch without any ability to buy substantial used equipment or anything like that, I don't know that it would be a survival challenge per se, because you're starting out with 500,000, but if you're trying to buy any land that can get you enough money to make decent progress, that 500,000 won't go very far between equipment and property. So, alright, hoping I can do this in just 2 passes. But yeah, I mean, certainly early, given that I've given this maybe 30 minutes of gameplay at this point. But I do feel, and I guess I will say somewhat sadly, some of what I had raised in my initial thoughts video about FS22 that I had posted before, that, you know, is this compelling enough without mods to compete for a, you know, a good length? Like, let's say we didn't have mods for a year, which I understand is not going to happen, but would I eventually find myself drawn back to FS19, where I have a lot more options, or not? And once again, as I said, I've given this half an hour. I haven't explored production chains. I haven't done any of the other things that we do know are changed in the game. So I'm certainly not giving it a fair comparison at this point. But I'm not, you know, that's just kind of thinking out loud here. Alright, so we used 10% of our seeds, which is great. Which means tomorrow I'll probably go ahead and get the other 2 fields planted. Because why not? But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shut that off. But now with an implement in here, yeah, it becomes exceedingly obvious. Like, yes, you're not going to store anything substantial underneath those shelves in this barn. So we can plant wheat and barley, but we're going to have to wait almost an entire year. So with only 3 fields, if I plant both tomorrow, we're really not doing anything until harvest. But I suppose, given that this is single player, I can move the calendar along by sleeping day after day until I get to a harvest point. Kind of get us to this point in the spring where we're running a full year, as opposed to starting mid-year like we did now, and go from there. Just tag on fast forwarding and see if we get through the various growth stages. That might be a quick way for us to test that. So that's all we'll cover for now. We'll see you next time.